What's going on, guys? My name is Tom, and today I'm going to be making a real talk video. As always, no script. This is just kind of me bullshitting in front of gameplay. So if you don't like to hear that, or if you don't like me talking or whatever, just feel free to mute the video, watch the gameplay. If not, then I don't know what the fuck you clicked on this video for. So anyway, I'll go back like 2 years because I know some of you guys, like, even though I wasn't posting a whole lot in 2020 and 2021, some of you guys did follow the tournaments that I was co-hosting. So if you did, I appreciate that. And I'll sort of get into that too. So 2020 pandemic hits, everyone's unemployed. Thought it'd be a pretty good idea to, start hosting tournaments. I basically took the Madden or FIFA like Ultimate Team, that mode, or like NBA 2K. I took that fantasy style model and I applied that to Halo. So we would like rate players based on their perceived ability, and it got pretty toxic at times, but I think it was a lot of fun for everybody involved, and especially like the spectators. But to be honest, man, it was just for the community. And like, I think that, what we did in the short amount of time, I think we, had over like 450 unique players, right? And out of those 450 unique players, we paid out, I think it was 15 grand in about like 11 months. So big shout out to all the people who participated, who donated, who, were spectators and watched. People paid for people to play. I'd say for Halo, like at this particular time in 2020 and 2021, like those 2 years, like the turnouts were pretty good. And I'm pretty happy with what we did. Honestly, even if, there were issues in a couple of tournaments, especially like the modding as it got later in the tourneys, which kind of made running tourneys impossible, I'd say that we did right by pretty much everybody involved. Like, we were always fair. Everyone got paid. We allowed people in different countries to host, but again, those rules did change from the first to last tournament. We didn't just exclude those people or, straight up deny them the right to host. I mean, I was as fair as possible, and I think a lot of my UK brothers and my brothers even deeper in the EU can attest to that. So fast forward to about like May or so of 2021, I pretty much decided that I was done. And I was done for a couple of reasons. Number one, the modding, right? I think the modding was the absolute biggest issue. We even had Tylenol, who's like the co-host of these tournaments. He was accusing people of modding, right? But when the staff of the tournament can't deduce accurately like who's modding or who's not modding, it kind of becomes a shit show. So to me, modding had got to a point at that period with like assembly and whatnot. People are just like now being dickheads, right? They're signing up for these tournaments and they're saying they're going to mod. There were people trying to ruin these deliberately. And, given that we had no dev support, we had to sort of figure out our own ways. And so we sort of internally reverse engineered the fact that if you were using assembly, if you were modding, that your theater files wouldn't load. Now, whether this is true in 2022, I can't speak on that. I haven't used the tool in well over a year now. I don't really care to. I think modding is fucking stupid anyway. But to be fair, I did do it as a kid. I did mod Halo 2. I was one of those people, but I'm not going to sit there and like weaponize it. And I think that's what a lot of these modders are tending to do now. That's kind of like the, direction that I see. Around the time when I stopped hosting these tournaments, people were like matching Tylenol and modding against him. And it's like, you do it once or twice, it's kind of funny, but when you do it the whole stream, you're taking away from like, not just his experience, but everyone else's, because, people depend on him as a content creator to make content. It just makes the game shitty. And ultimately, like, people like me, I didn't want to host or co-host tournaments after the fact, because I'm like, okay, if people are going to just deliberately try to ruin these tournaments, then I'm pretty much done, right? I was looking for a job at that point anyway. And I figured that, sinking time into these tournaments when people are just going to mod them and try to manipulate things, it just wasn't a good idea. And I do feel bad, right, about not saying goodbye to people, but I'm not very good at goodbyes, and I don't really intend to like not come back. I feel like, when I take breaks, I usually just kind of like dip for a bit and come back whenever I feel like it, right? I mean, because again, I've never once in my life thought of Halo as a job. I'm not saying that it can't be, and I'm not saying that if you're watching this video and you do make money from Halo, I'm not saying that it's not a good thing, right? It is a good thing. But for me personally, like when I got into Halo, I just wanted to be Furion. You know what I mean? I wanted to be It Was Luck. I just wanted to make montages and upload gameplay. That was my thing. When MCC came out in 2014, in November of 14, when fucking Frank O'Connor was popping bubblies or whatever the fuck, popping bottles in an airplane, right? 3 days before MCC launched in November of 2014, that was my last straw with Halo. I have given this company chance after chance after chance after fucking chance, and they've continually disappointed me. What kind of dumb fuck would I look like playing their fucking game? You know what I mean? I see comments saying, oh, Tommy doesn't like Infinite. Yeah, no, I don't. The game fucking sucks, right? Halo 5 fucking sucked. Infinite sucked. Halo 4 sucked. MCC was the absolute worst launch in history. I refuse to sink any time into a game that has that type of fucking ranking system, that has literally no content on launch. 343 Industries is a fucking embarrassment. period. And I'm not going to play their fucking game. I'm going to play MCC because I love Halo 2 and 3. They've worked on this game for 5, maybe 6 years at this point. But again, alas, they proved me right. What it comes down to is you have incompetent people. And listen, don't attack Postums, right? Don't even attack the devs. What it comes down to is these people who are making the fucking choices, the executive decisions on Halo, have no fucking idea what they're doing. They have no fucking clue. And as a fan, it gets to a point where it's like, you can't complain about being fat and then you eat fucking McDonald's every day, right? Fuck that. I'm not going to sit there and support a fucking game or a company who just makes bad choices, right? And this isn't even about Sprint, right? This is not about modern versus classic Halo, what should be, what shouldn't be, 1 through 50 versus Onyx or whatever. No, fuck that. This is about you, not you guys, but 343 Industries not doing their fucking job. They launch a game again, Halo 4, Halo 5, now fucking Infinite. Launch with no content, no playlist, and really no hope. They're not even giving accurate timelines. Like, there's so many people beating on this game. I don't even have to say anything. I don't even have to make a fucking video. You guys literally embarrass yourselves, honestly. I mean, go to Glassdoor, go to Indeed, and have a look. I don't know what 343 needs, but what I do know for a fact is that this is not on the bottom tier employees, right? Going after Postums or going after devs, those are low-hanging fruit that can be easily replaced, right? What it comes down to is you have to hold people like Phil Spencer accountable, Bonnie Ross. Now, don't harass them and don't break any laws, but what I will say is these people should be the ones who are held accountable. People like Postums are kind of like the US president, right? People just love to point their finger and say like, that's the problem, right? But people like Phil Spencer and Bonnie Ross are like Congress and the House, right? So the thing is, laws are not just made by one person in a fucking White House, you know what I mean? And that's one of the biggest issues that I see is like sort of misguided anger, right? You cannot let a company repeatedly fuck up. So 343, I'm gonna give them credit. In 2011, when they took over for Halo Reach, they did a lot of good shit. I will say, they reduced Bloom, they nerfed Armor Lock, they did good shit. But you follow that up with Halo 4, which is arguably the worst Halo game in the franchise, and then MCC in 2014. So those two blemishes are on your record, MCC being a pretty big one, and then you release Halo 5. Halo 5 was intended to be this like esports shooter, this arena shooter that brought back Halo, and so like in October of 2012, they hire Mason Cobb, Neighbor, Ghost, Dursky, whatever, and they make this pro team, right? So this pro team was essentially assembled to be glorified beta testers. It's literally like calling a janitor a custodian. So you'd think that hiring like, you know, Ghost Diami and Neighbor, these guys are certified pros. This game's gonna be pretty fucking good. Nope, you're wrong. No content, the ranks sucked, and you know, they didn't even appeal to their core audience. This is supposed to be, Halo 5 was supposed to be this like competitive arena shooter. We're going back to what made Halo Halo. 343 even had this private Discord with a bunch of Halo pros, and they're like, I think current and former Halo pros, and they'd ask them their opinion about settings and all that shit. So despite that, despite the pro team, they still took 24 months to remove radar and automatics from competitive matchmaking. So let me get this straight. You make a game and gear it towards competitive play. It's this arena shooter, right? They're gonna reinvent Halo and all that bullshit. You have a pro team. You have pros in the Discord giving you feedback on the settings. They're playing the game. This is your core audience, right? And you don't listen to them. So take everything that I just said, all my arguments, right? Then couple that with the fact that the development began in October of 2015. This isn't like a fool me once, fool me twice type of thing. This is literally, I'm just getting fooled over and over again, and it gets to a point where you're just the fucking idiot. I feel bad for the pros, both, you know, who worked for 343 and the ones who are trying to make Halo a better place, because ultimately the devs don't give a fuck. That's my opinion, and I'm gonna stick to it, because honestly, I've seen time and time again where they have had every chance to make things right. This is not a classic versus modern Halo. I've made videos on that. You know, again, you guys know my preference. I prefer classic all day. This is not even that. This is literally just them not doing their fucking job. The game is not nearly as important as the ranking system surrounding it, the matchmaking system. That is what people are going to consume. That's what people are going to play. But I can't keep making videos, right, trying to better this franchise when the devs don't even give a fuck about the people that they're trying to appeal to. That is a complete lack of respect and an insult to our intelligence. And to be fair, even if I had anything positive to say about this game, which I do, by the way, there's not a lot, but there's a little bit, you know, they did make a couple improvements, I wouldn't say a fucking word. You know why? Because 343, over the course of these last 11 years, 12 years, when somebody shows you who they are, you take it at face value. You believe them. And I could easily say, right, I'm 30 years old, I work 40 hours a week just like everybody else. I could easily say I don't have time to play games, I don't have time to make videos, but I'm gonna be honest, I do. I just refuse to support any incompetence. If you guys followed me for a while, you guys know I gave them feedback in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. I gave them so much feedback over a 3 to 4 year period, but what I ended up realizing is Even if the feedback made its way to the devs, which it often does, if they choose not to implement it, there needs to be some type of accountability. And to be quite honest, I don't see that. And that's why I choose not to play Halo Infinite. Is Halo Infinite a bad game or unplayable game? No, it's not. I think every Halo, including Halo 4, has replay value. But whoever's making the decisions around matchmaking, right, around online play, needs to be terminated immediately. As far as my YouTube goes, I'm still gonna be making videos when I want to. I'll upload gameplays and, you know, montages periodically. But to continue like writing videos and scripting videos for the sake of trying to, you know, promote positive change within the franchise, I just don't think it's worth it. And that opinion could change one day. I'm not gonna rule anything out, but as of right now, I see no fucking point. As always, guys, appreciate you. Peace.